All right, so we live, man.
Yes, we back. We back. Sorry about that, you guys. I had a little bit of a tech issue. I still don't got that part figured out. But we passed that now. We passed that now. We're back in the building. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Like and share this video. Um,
Subscribe to the, you feel me?
Again, I put myself in this position tonight to talk to anybody that want to come on and ask me something. And I'm just noticing that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see that. Yes, sure, absolutely. Shout out to Red Panda, no cap. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Definitely shout out to Red Panda. Uh, Having said that, um, we can jump right in it. What you got?
All right, so this is a epic, you one of them epic ones. Uh, and I ain't holding no punches, man. So, one of the things that I like to get into is biblical studies, but it's not about me. It's about
Okay. All right. Hold
you.
on. Hold on. Before you get in, I just want to make sure I did. Um, because one issue I do be having, I don't be taking it off of private and people can't see it. So if you can hear me, can you put a one in the chat? If you
Taking
can
it off of
hear me,
private and people.
and
We live. I can see you. We live.
can I get a? I can see somebody in the chat. Can I get a one in the chat? I know you can hear me. I want to know if they can hear me because there you go. I got you. All right, let's roll. Let's roll.
All
Let's
right.
roll.
So,
Let's roll.
so this is we're gonna take it back, man. We're gonna take it back to we go to the hot seat. So today you invited me on your stuff for a minute. I had some questions for you, and normally, you know, it's the other way around. You asking the questions, you blendering. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? You ain't pulling no punches. You throwing out smoke plumes. You doing a whole bunch. So today,
Yeah.
you're gonna
Yeah.
be. I'm gonna ask you some questions, and you're since we free flooring it. Um, I really just want to kind of get to know you, let the audience get to know you, because you have a plethora and a wide range of topics. Um, so I think this will be beneficial with the area I want to take it to, because
All right.
I like biblical studies, and that's where I'm endeavoring to really go to. Uh, so we're gonna start with that, man. I have a question for you.
All right.
I put something here. And what I would like to know, man, just to get things clear, um, are you a monotheistic person? Do you believe that there's one God, or are you polytheistic? Poly, plural, multiple. Do you
I
believe in
understand.
one or
I
multiple?
understand. I understand the question.
Okay.
Um, I would say. I would say mono. If those were my two choices, I would say mono.
Okay. Is there another choice?
But those are the two choices you gave me.
Well, it's either one or
Yeah.
more, right?
Yeah.
Or none. Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you even believe in God?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, all right. Then let me ask you
But here,
this.
here. Let me. No, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so let me clarify that. Do you have get I want to get a clear understanding of your belief or faith system, right? Because
Okay.
some people might not, want to subscribe to belief, right? So we could say faith. Um are you a Christian? Are you a atheist? Are you a Muslim? Are you of the Hebrew roots? If we have to, you know, get into a religious type of form, you know what I mean, where would you place yourself? Because you say you believe in God or you know God exists, you want to use knowing, right? So I'm trying to kind of, because it's been kind of vague, from previous conversations and just,
Hmm.
hearing in the wind. People don't really know what's what or where's who. So I guess I'm trying to clear up the air with where would you place yourself? Christianity, Muslimic, Hebrew roots, uh, what do they call it? Conscious community. Like how where would you place your standpoint as far as your faith in a higher being or creator?
All right. First of all, I welcome the question with open arms. I welcome the question with open arms, and you're right. It is going to offer me an opportunity to kind of get the record straight, right? So I'm gonna do my best to try to explain this because I never really found a way to formulate my explanation on how I operate under that content that you just were talking about. But for layman's terms, not to belittle anybody's knowledge about anything, but just for layman's terms, I'm using the word God. Well, I'm in agreement with you under the term God because I got a pretty good hypothesis of what you mean when you say that.
Okay.
But the reason why it doesn't fit any category, such as you mentioned, like Catholic, Muslim, uh,
Yeah.
it, it,
Islam,
yeah,
Islam,
in that
whatever.
my biggest issue is trying to find a placement where I fit without having to be in a place myself. So it's really it's a bit disturbing at first because I used to be a Christian. I used to practice Christianity to the fullest. Some people that's even watching this will uh, can agree that I had a pretty good Christian life, Christian experience, and all that. But at the time, I was just believing in what I was involved in, or what I was, into that practice. I really didn't really know what I was doing. I was just believing. So when you ask me what kind of faith or belief or God can I be categorized in hypothetically, it really doesn't fit anything because I don't have any whatsoever graven image to show you. But the thing that we are referring to as God, or that most people refer to as God, is where we have this positive sense of life. We don't look at the 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 negative, or I couldn't say negative, but I can say the other aspects of God. We just pretty much focus on the positive principles. So I get what you're saying as far as do I do those practices? Of course. So I would look as if I believed in God, whether I said I did if I didn't because of my lifestyle. But the but trying to place it in a category for me would be giving it some sort of idol or some sort of um yeah, some sort of idol. And I have nothing. I don't have a Bible. I mean, I have a Bible. I have a Bible. I have those things, but I can't show you my faith and what I believe in that, or a Quran, or a poem, or a picture. I have no graven image whatsoever to to show anyone anything that I believe in. I just have this sense of what's right and what's wrong that I've recognized in my own personal life, and I use
So
that to as a let me oh, grab the wheel. I'm driving here. because I'm getting the opportunity to say what I mean. Now, I'm gonna let you get a little more personal with it, but just so you know, I really can't say any of anything because I don't have anything to say that this is this or this is that. It's just how I live my life. But most people have said to me that I fit those descriptions of a Catholic would say whatever they say is their good side of God, or a Muslim would say their say, or a Christian would say their say. But none of them says, "Hey, you're the devil." They say that you do good things, and so you must be this or you must be that, and that's fine. What they say that I am, but I don't have anything to myself to say that I am because whatever I am is within myself. I know it's really complex, but that was just
No, no, I
my
got
way
it.
of
So
trying to explain.
what I'm gathering from that is you more rely on intrinsic
It, it,
attributes.
it, it's more like God is more like my guide. I can say guide where you say God. If that, but that doesn't fit any kind of religion stuff. So that's why I really don't have nowhere to put. That's what I'm saying. I have no graven image to show you, but just to kind of give you an idea of how I see God
Mhm.
as like a captain would see a guide. You know what I'm saying? You,
Yeah,
you, yeah. All right. All right.
no, that's good because what that does for me, that allows me to understand you're more so standing on what is known as um intrinsic, what someone would call righteousness, or what somebody would refer to as uh you know a quote unquote conscience, just being born with a kind of intuitive of knowing right from wrong, right? So that kind of answered my next question. So you're obviously you're not religious, right? You're not a religious um person. Religious by definition is something you practice daily, right? So we get dressed religiously. You know what I mean? But you're not like a religious type of, you actively practice the tenets of Christianity or Islam or,
Right.
that type of stuff. Okay, that's perfect.
That's
All right,
fair.
all right.
That's fair to say. That's fair to say. That's fair to
Okay, that's
say.
good. That's good. So then would you more so say that you're a belief base or a faith base? Like you believe more in this entity, this deity, this God, or you more have a faith of this creator type? Like how would you define it? More of a belief in the intrinsic, in the inner self, knowing right from wrong, or more of a faith type of thing?
Well, faith is the evidence of something that's unseen, right?
Okay, yeah.
But evidence is based on something that you've seen. So, so it's hard for me to use, you know,
Those
uh,
words.
yeah, and belief is only needed until you know something. After you come to knowing that, you don't need to continue to believe it. So my old traditional beliefs that I used to believe, like I believed in Santa Claus. And at one point I discovered it wasn't so. So I didn't need to continue with that belief. It didn't make me a good guy or a bad guy. It just organized my way of thinking. So that's I'm kind of messed up because I really don't have those principles that I use to. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. When I was doing this Christian life, and I don't want to, I'm not picking on any kind of religion or anything. I'm just talking with you.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
I,
here.
I,
So
I was a care provider for my mom, right? And she had 3 heart attacks on my watch. the third heart attack, I wasn't able to get her back home from her third heart attack, right? And she started progressively getting worse. So at the time, I was practicing this relationship with God through Christianity. That I, and from my understanding, there's no way that this God can fail me under any circumstances. Only I can fail it, or only I can fail Him. So at the time when realized, I just knew that I wasn't going to getting her, bringing her back home was getting, the chances were getting less and less. And a lot of family was up visiting with her at the hospital and stuff like that. And I went to the church, right? I couldn't be found. Turn my phone off. I went to the church because I know what was coming. I just sensed it, right? So I ran and I had belief that God's gonna fix this because he had no reason not to, right? I, this is how I'm operating, and I had faith that it can't fail. So while everybody rushed to the hospital, I went to the spiritual hospital, right? Called myself outsmarting everybody. Went there. She still passed, right? So for a minute, I was mad at God. I was like, bro, put him up. I was upset about that. But then I realized I was taking the whole idea of what God's responsibilities were or are. So I started maturing in how to use this positive energy in my life, just like I know how to use negative energy. That was a no brainer. But
Mhm.
through that time dealing with my mom's passing, I really learned how to use positive. Even though I was mad at God and I didn't go AWOL, but I was frustrated that I ain't never asked for much. And the thing that I asked for the most, I felt like he did like this. But that was what I knew about God. So as that's why I'm saying that was me outsourcing God's responsibilities based on different religious practices. I put that on God's shoulders and uh, made it His responsibility. And then when it didn't happen, I was mad. So I didn't understand even what I was believing. You know what I mean? So as I began to put these things in, as I began to learn how to put these principles into place, I became less religious and more spiritual, if I'm
Mhm.
saying that right.
Yep. Okay. Okay.
So,
So no, and that's good. This is good. This is good. So for where I'm at, you do believe in what we call God or what the world calls God or a creator, right? That we were intelligent design, right? You believe in or you understand that to be true. You're not really religious as far as like the do's and don'ts of
mhm.
set religions, but you do stand on intrinsic right and wrong. Your
Oh,
conscience,
absolutely.
what's inside of yourself. Okay.
Oh,
And
absolutely. Absolutely.
you're more spiritual versus um let's dig into that a little bit. Talk
Mhm.
to me about what you mean spiritually, because some people would say spiritual, miracles. I can look at you and you get healed.
Mhm.
um and some people look at it more so, I'm in the spirit, you know what I'm saying, they get to jumping and talking and whatever, however, whatever they want to call it. um Based on where you're at, how would you shape that spirituality to you? Like, what let's dig into that a little bit.
Well, spirituality to me is acknowledging right from wrong. For me to understand my relationships with people and how they operate. That I don't just wing it with my relationships and my friends and my family. They're really deep. I'm very relevant to the family. I'm not just like a family member. I'm a family member that's relevant to the family. And I'm not always around them physically around them. It's a huge family. Can't be around everybody. But I'm very valued within. And that is through spirituality, through my spirit, through who I am spiritually. Don't have to be in the presence of the person for the person for me to have that close relationship. I don't have to. They don't have to be my neighbor or somebody I see every day or twice a week. It could be somebody I see twice a year, and my relationship with that person is valued, if not more, as it is equal to the person I see every day. You see what
So
I'm saying?
yeah,
Yeah.
you
So
mentioned
yeah.
you mentioned, relationship uh a lot in the spirituality. Um is that more so of a, because a relationship is an unseen thing at times and it's seen at times, right? If
Hmm.
two people are together, you can clearly see whether they're friend or foe. But that same relationship carries, vast across the globe, right? So, are you relating your spirituality to relational connections? The relationships that you carry across the board in all different directions. Those unseen connections. Is that kind of where you're going with that?
I don't really understand your question.
So, like you were saying, me and you be friends, right? But you
Hmm.
can be in China and I can be in, you know, Australia, but that
Okay.
friendship still connects us. It's something that's not seen, but we're still connected through that friendship. And
Yeah.
and, and then when we're closer, it's even more amplified because it can be seen. People on the outside looking at us can clearly see we value each other's time and company, and we're laughing and talking serious, whatever's happening. Uh, I guess I'm trying to, because you mentioned friendships a lot and those connections, which, if I think about it, you're right. They're not seen. I can't physically see whatever it is that ties two people in a friendship, but you can clearly see it at the same time through
Hmm.
acting, through interaction with one another.
Hmm. I got you.
Um, so that's what I'm kind of asking is when you're saying spiritual, is that you mentioned the friendship? Is that kind of like I won't even say all of it, but a big piece of what you uh, define as spirituality, relationship?
So so what it is more so, if I'm understanding your question, it's more so I'm a reflection of what I believe in. I reflect it. And so let's say let's say for example, if I was a Muslim, I would say things like Assalamu alaikum, right? And
Hmm.
you would say, oh man, that's a Muslim brother, right? So
Hmm.
that's how you would be able to identify whatever I did. If I held the door for you and you said thank you and I said assalamu alaikum, you'll say, hey, that person, is he's a cool person, but it seems like he's getting his grace or his prayers kind of tied to that faith, right? So spirituality for me is whatever it is that you pray to. If you do whatever you do, that helps you make decisions when times are tough,
Hmm.
when you have to do things you don't want to do, and when you're expressing love and gratitude. Whenever you're paying homage to whatever you believe in during those times, I'm with you with that. So one from over here will see us doing this and will suspect I'm what it is that you you are, right? And
Yeah.
I'm all right with that. I don't necessarily have to be that, but what I am is in agreement with the intent of your heart. You
Yeah,
see what I'm
you're
saying? So
I
so
get you.
even there was some Mormons that ran into me. Like I seen them coming at Safeway one day. I was getting got out the car and I seen them coming in. And there's if you guys see some of my videos, you see I done messed with Mormons before and I done done all kind of little funny shit. But I'll be messing with people. But in this encounter, I just accepted. I really wasn't in the mood to mess with them anyway, but nonetheless, because they did stop me and they started their thing. And normally I would interact with them or ask them a question that nobody can answer and just walk off, or I'll do some, I'll try to one up them with something, right? But
Mhm.
but this time I just really wasn't feeling it. I just wanted to get my shopping over and come back. And I looked at them and I just really seen their heart. So to speak. The fact that they're out here, because the first thing he said, "Hey man, I wanted to offer the goodness of the Lord to you," and Chad said, "Well, he didn't say I want to." Hey man, I had the other person just asked me if I knew where you can find the stuff. You know what I'm saying? So for him to say, "Hey man, I want to offer you the Lord, man, and show you the good ways of God and how they do their thing," I just looked at him and said, "This now is not the right time," and I appreciated him, and I appreciate the fact that he was concerned about my final destination. But no, but there's been times I would mess with him, just because I just be messing with people. But but I also showed that I have some regularness there. You know what I mean? I'm
Mhm.
if I get it, they just trying to do the right thing. Now, is it always right? Does everything they do is all tied into the right thing? No, nobody says. Nobody says. Nobody says. So I just said, you know what? I thank them for their good efforts. So at the time, whatever they believed in that was trying to see that a person has a better ending or a better life, I believe in that. So it didn't matter. You see what I'm trying to say? So there's no way I'm a Mormon or a Muslim or any of those things, but I'm not not either.
You know what?
I I
I think
just don't have.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I just don't have any. My life is my evidence.
Yep. See, and I think I really got the embodiment of what you're saying holistically. Um, but I don't. I want to tease it out because
Uh,
I got it. Um, because if we're
hold on before you go there. I just want to say I see somebody is saying something in the chat right now. I'm not reading it all the way. I just didn't want to disregard it. I will definitely get back and reply to you with whatever it is you're saying. It's kind of small for me. I'm sitting back, but I do appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button. Share this with somebody you know and also with somebody you don't. Appreciate your time. Go ahead, bro.
um, so um, I think I got it because if we're talking spiritual concepts, right? It's almost like
Yeah,
you reap what you sow, and
yeah.
you know, Paul said, he became all things to all that he may win a few, right? So, in what you're telling me, um, you sow into people. Your spiritual walk and evidence, like you said, is a reflection of who you are. You know how to meet people where they are, in times of you know goodness or in times of sadness, whatever it is, or just in tough times where people, whatever they rely on to make proper decisions in these times is what you can align yourself with for that person, even though you're not a Christian or you're not Muslim, if saying Assalamu alaikum, praise be to Allah, helps that person do the right thing, you can support that person and type stuff. I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. And you
And
know what?
until I learn a better way to express what's what is bestowed up on me through grace, through my whatever I'm tethered to, until
Uh,
I find another way to express that will be an accurate assessment. What you just said.
I got you. Yeah, I think it clicked for me, and I really can just bust it out, but I want to tease it out a little bit
All
more.
right, all
But
right.
I think I got it for the so well I'm gonna just you know
Talk to me. I'll be here all night.
it's almost like you know from my point of view how Yah operates. You know what I mean? He knows how to meet people where they're at, right? He knows how to deal with people exactly where they're at. You know what I mean? In my
Okay.
standpoint, Yah is into people. That's into people. So um yeah, that's definitely okay. So your spirituality, your if you want to say faith, your understanding is more so in living it out and in embodying what most people say they practice but don't actually do. You
Hmm.
actually just do it, that character, without having a specific box to put your ticket into, to say I'm checking in as a Christian or I'm checking in as in the Hebrew roots or the conscious faith. You more so just embody the actual image that everybody say they believe in, he God, um but don't actually be, what I mean, they be doing the opposite of what they say. So that's much respectable. That's I hope y'all out there are getting this, because this is some good game. Um, for real. Okay, so let's move along. Let's push it down the
Hmm.
line.
And
Um,
I'm also on on the other end. I'm not always you- the nice guy. There's sometimes I have to be a little aggressive, and I'm still mindful of even using my aggressiveness in the way that in the best way that I can to address only the issue that I'm addressing. So
yeah,
even so and other than me just wilding out, I'll I'm mindful because again I'm trying to stay as godly as I can, even when I'm not doing things that people will can't imagine God would do, right? But I'd have to imagine that God would do some of the things that I may have done if I'm for that, looking for the best way to do that.
I got you. I got
To give you a quick example, if I was going to go rob a bank, I wouldn't want to go when there's kids there, so to speak.
yeah, moral.
I wouldn't really want to hurt nobody. I just want to get the money and you know what I'm saying? I'm not in there I'm not, it's not on fight or flight. I just want to get the thing that I'm trying to do and be as less disturbing as possible. Because that's the what the God side of me on the good side,
No
keeping
banks.
me keeping me balanced, even though I may be doing something that's if I'm trying to explain this for the first time, so it may not be coming out, but
Moral. Yeah, bro. So if the
all
Mexican
right, all right.
if the
I'm just saying.
Mexican
I'm just go ahead.
No, yeah, bro. So let me play around with this, because actually, I
Uh,
want to know. Want to
all right.
address the comments? Do you want to address, like, answer some of the comment questions, or you want to just keep rocking?
Yeah, go ahead. I can do that while you go ahead. Go ahead. Let me see what they got up there.
Because I, I want you to answer some of their questions too, though.
Yeah, yeah,
If
yeah,
you
yeah. I got you. I got you. I got you. Yeah, we can take a minute and do that. It's just how can there be a creator without a single individual person or idol? How can there be a creator without a single individual person or idol? How can there be a creator without a? Let me make sure I'm getting this right. How can there be a creator without a single individual person?
I
I
think they're
don't
saying
know.
I think they're saying, how can there be a creator if there isn't a person or even an idol, or so, like, if there's no creation, how can there be a creator if there's no creation? Is that what they're saying?
That's what it kind of looks like. That's what it kind of looks like. But how can there be a creator but without a creation? No, it's not what he's saying. I don't understand that question. Without a single individual person or idol, I don't. I don't. Can you re-ask that question to where I can? 'Cause I really don't understand that question.
All
My
right.
truth is, hold on. So you have seen your own. Yep. Have you seen your own soul and consciousness or thoughts? I think. In a way, I have. In a way, I have. But probably not in the way that you're thinking. And I can say, well, your thoughts. You should know that you can see your own thoughts, uh, but particularly my consciousness. I've seen. You can't see it, so it's a third eye thing. I don't know if you own that or not. I don't know what you're talking about. But if that's what you're saying, then yeah, definitely, I can see that. I'm seeing it in this conversation that we're having right now. What is this question? Well, why would he save her from death? I mean, death is a universal punishment. How do you know he didn't just help you in a different way because that wasn't allowed? I don't. I don't know that. But this is a great point. You got a good point because the fact that I don't know if it matured me, I matured from it. So being that I matured from it and that is something I deem good, I gave that to God anyway. I gave that to that spirituality anyway. So hopefully, if that answers your question, because and at the time, why would He save her from death? Because I asked Him to. I didn't know that I didn't know how religion worked. I just knew that God couldn't fail, and I believed. I didn't kind of believe. See, this is good. See, this tells you the level of belief that I put into the God. If I'm telling you that I believe that God would do it, I obviously didn't. I had my relationship, what I call God, was greater than my concept of death, right? So I really didn't understand how it worked. As I matured, I took the latter end of what you said and said, "Hey, maybe maybe that happened so that I can mature to this point." So, but even if it didn't, because like I said, I don't know, but even if it didn't, I give that winnings to that spirituality, what most people call God anyway. Great question. Great question. Appreciate that. Go
For
ahead now.
sure. So let's kick this down the line here.
All right.
Um, Now we gonna I'm gonna throw out. See, now I wanted to get an understanding of your standpoint because kind of unknown if you believed in God, or kind of what it was. Um, but I'm clear, and I hope everybody else is clear. Um, Give me your biblical understanding of the creation stories? Is there one? Is there two? And if there's two, let me know something.
I
Yeah, I said
understood. I understood. I understood. I got you. I understood.
we
I
finna get going.
understood. Oh yeah, yeah. That's all
Yeah,
right. Oh, yeah, we can do this.
we
I
finna
understood that I understood too. I
so there's
understood.
okay,
uh,
well let me know because I'm just here to ask questions. I'm just
That's
here to
fine. That's
there's
fine.
saying that you believe or
I,
understand there's
I
two creation stories.
I'm saying I can recite you two different places where I found that to be two different creation stories. Now, I'll tell you this. I knew that to be that, but
No.
I also know that there's more to it than I know. So I've heard that story summed up in one, but it doesn't make any sense. And the
Mm,
fact that the second story says that the first, it seems like the first story didn't happen. For second creation, if you read the second creation, you wouldn't think that there was a creation before that. So those are the two different creation stories. One of them doesn't make sense, but there is one. It just doesn't make sense.
okay.
And then that same one does make sense in a different revised version of that same chapter and verse. So kind of uh, uh, like how the Bible just does stuff like that, like Second Kings 19 and I think it's Mark 34, Mark 34, Second Kings 19, Isaiah 34, Second Kings 19 is the exact same page. I for dot, period for period, exclamation for exclamation. You would think I just copy and paste it. So I'm sure there's an explanation for it, but it does things like that. So just because I read it as two different creation stories doesn't mean it's necessarily two creation stories, but then it makes it confusing. And this shouldn't be confusing because as the story goes on, it says that I'm not confusing. I'm relatively easy.
Mm,
And making a story where you have to have 40 years of mystery school to break it down disqualifies a lot of people that don't live that long. So it just gets confusing a little bit, and it just could be the way I'm reading it, but I can read it to you in those two ways I claim.
yeah, I would like see because like you said, the biblical scriptures state God is not an author of confusion. And you're saying that if there's two, it makes sense. If there's one, it doesn't really make sense. So I personally don't know of two creation stories. So I would like for you to show me where you're getting the I guess the creation one and creation two, if you will. Now, whatever my personal thoughts are is neither here or there. You're in the hot seat today, sir, and I'm asking you the questions. I'm not giving the answers. So I would like to see this if you know where to go or how to get to it.
Oh,
Because what I'm getting at, I'm gonna just kind of go through it while you're getting
huh.
it. Um, if there is creation stories, right, then that would make me know well what was created in the what were the differences in creation between the two. Was the first one destroyed and then the second one came, or was it he created? stopped or whatever, I don't know, pause and then continued the creation? Is it one long one that was done in parts, or is it two totally separate ones? It brings up a lot of questions for me. Um, if there is two, right? So I guess, that's why I'm interested. Where can I see this at? Where can the viewers see this at?
Hmm.
Because I've heard you talk about this quite a few times, and mention it. So this is what brings up this question of two kids. And then also it makes me think, if there was another creation, are we are I would assume we're the second creation. Are we inferior to what was created first? I'm not sure. Now, what I could understand in creation is that, he created the angelical realm with the spiritual angels and stuff first. And if you're saying that's the first creation, okay, that to me, that gives me clarity to understand. Okay, creation was the heavens and the hosts of them and the angels and all of that. And then the second creation would be, i.e., man and animals and that type of stuff. Okay, okay, that would make perfect sense. But if you're talking about in the realm and context of what we know as flesh and blood, um, then yeah, that would engender a lot of questions, in what I my previous statement. Are we inferior? Did something happen that caused it to be destroyed? Is it one creation summed up in parts, different parts? Uh, you know, what's going on? Floor is
Okay. All right.
say we got the internet. The internet can pull it up quick too.
Hold on. Hold on. No, 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 no.
Yeah, don't run. No running now. Yeah, don't run now. Let's get to it.
All
Yeah,
right. I hope you can see this. No, because I mean, you're asking me a question. I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna try to. I don't know. I don't know if you can see that because I got my screen kind of
yeah. Just tell me where it's at. Is there a way to
Well,
pull it?
well, the problem with me telling you where it's at, it's going to read different in different Bibles. But
Okay,
I'll tell you.
but yeah,
Here we
where
could. No, no, no,
just
no,
for
no, 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 no. Go 127. Genesis
in
127.
okay, well, just read it. Just read it.
No, you no
You
no. All right, I'll read it.
yeah,
127. It says,
Genesis.
So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female. He created them.
Mhm.
Did I did did you hear what I just did I say that?
Yeah, it said
I did say that, right? Is that what
so.
yours say?
Yeah, so God created man in His own image.
Hmm.
In the image of God created He him, male and female created He them.
All right.
Yeah.
And that's on 127. That's where it's at on my Bible,
Mm-hmm.
right? So over in two, the very next chapter over,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we're going to be at 7.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where we at?
Yep. 7.
All right. And God and God formed man in the dust of the ground. Are we reading the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
And he breathed into his nostrils, and man became. Actually, uh, this is getting now. See, that's what I'm saying. This is getting real interesting. So stay with me, because you know what I
I'm
just, you know what I just, you know what I just discovered.
I
I'm
think
actually
I
going.
but
You know
go
what I
ahead.
just discovered. All
I
right.
think
So are there three creation stories here? Because
okay. Come on.
because where's the, because if I keep going, it's going to find that it wasn't good for man to be alone, right? Right,
Okay.
so he's made him a partner out of the man's rib, right?
Mm-hmm. But you asking me? No, I'm just agree. I'm just
No,
saying,
no,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
no, no, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm telling you
yeah.
that the woman came out of his rib, but if he made him a woman because it wasn't good for him to be alone, my question is, where's the woman that he made when he made the man on the first one? He done made another one over here, and I'm sure if I keep going, he's going to make another one out of the side of a man somewhere in the pages. But here, he just made the man and the woman on the first page. But then he said it ain't good for a man to be alone. So that's fine. I just wonder where did the woman go? Because if he made them both together, then he shouldn't have been alone. So if you made him the woman out the rib, I'm taking that as another creation story because it seems that things were created at that point. Now, if you're saying that the man that he made the first time alone, the, the woman's is within the man, we're not doing hermaphrodite unless you're saying that the man can carry the female in his uh, sperm, but I thought it was the woman that dropped the Y off of the chromosome. So I'm trying to. So yeah, I'm sticking to the. Yeah, that's why I would say that there would be two different creation stories. Now I have heard it read to me in a Bible where it doesn't read the way that I just read it to you, but I really did just read it to you out of here. But I've had
Yeah.
someone read the same thing to me where it didn't involve the woman, and so it said that he made only the man he blew into his nostril. But still, the next page, he said it wasn't good for man to be alone. So that's where he made the woman at. But I just
Okay.
read it in this King James, where it reads differently. So I can't really authenticate either. I think one had to come before the other if there's a revise or a reversion uh, going on there or something. And that's where that last video came about when we was talking about if the woman was made 50-50, where is she 50-50 at? That's what that last video stemmed from this creation story. So and now if it's really one story and it's just told that way, well that's a little confusing. And again, that doesn't fit the description of the one that just said I'm not confusing.
So you're saying in Genesis 1:27. So God created man in His own image. In the image of God created He him, male and female created He them.
Hmm.
And then you're going on to chapter 2, verse 7, and it says, "And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul." So, as the second creation, and then you're going in the same chapter down to 21, and it says, "And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and he took one of his closed up the flesh instead thereof. 22. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from man made he a woman and brought her unto the man.
Hmm.
So 1 in 27 is the first creation. God created man in his own image, and he created he, him, male and female. He created he, them. Then in chapter 2, verse 7 is the second creation of what is man. And then in the same chapter, we see another creation in uh 20 through 21, or really.
Right, and I just dawned on me. But again, I'm still saying that that's just how I'm reading it. But that's why I'm where I'm at with that.
That answers a lot of questions because my previous stated, what was created, this, that, and the third. But I clearly see it says man. Even in the first, if there is two, I see it says man. So that answers a lot of my question. But um, so do you still hold to that aspect that there is two, at least two creation stories?
Well, it says creation in one of those, right?
Hmm.
It says God created. The word creation is written in there. So that's at least one. And what I call creation, or what I deem that can be deemed for me as creation, is when a woman and a man makes a child. I can deem that as creation. So if he made the woman out of the man, that doesn't really fit what I call what I know as creation. But I do see that all things got to have a beginning if we're going there. So I kind of deem that as a creation story myself. So th-
But yeah, I'm
I'm not
trying to.
saying that there's two but it does say there's one itself where he
Okay.
created the man and woman. So that is one creation story that I can confirm that because it uses the word creation. The other ones, that's my doing calling that saying that that's part of creation because I don't see the word creation in those other two passages that you mentioned, unless I'm missing something, or it's in another revised version because I
Okay.
didn't write it. I'm just reciting it.
Right. So I'm just trying to, because I'm gonna leave that, I'm gonna just get a overall, um your understanding based on those two verses. There's one or two creations, right?
I would think it'd be fair to. I mean, at least it's reading that way. I know there's one where it says creation, but
Hey,
the other
what?
ones is just the other ones is something that I'm doing. I'm putting that. I'm calling that. I think that's what happens when a man and a woman make a child. I'm calling that creation.
I'm talking
That's on
about
me.
sense of one chapter you see a story of creation, and then in another chapter you see a whole different story of creation. That's what, because if I go by what you're
Yeah,
saying now, I would think
yeah.
you're saying it's just one long creation or a bigger story of the
Oh,
same.
I'm sorry.
But
I'm
I'm
not.
saying,
No, I'm. Yeah.
I'm saying, is there two separate, what I'm understanding as creation based on chapter one and chapter two, based on what you
Well,
said.
unless the story is tethered, it could be tethered into one. Everything is all Pulp Fiction, so to speak. But
Mhm.
I know one of them uses the word creation. I got leverage on that one, and the other one, I'm just calling when he takes. Cause unless it says it, I'm not gonna say that that's what it is. I'm gonna say that's what I'm hypothesizing that it is.
No, that's good. I just wanted to give you the floor if you had any, insight on that. I just, because at first you said there was two, then you're like, well, maybe. So that's why I was trying to get a definitive. Do you say there's two or one? But but we can move forward.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I was gonna ask you, based on that, in dealing with creation, do you believe Christ is a real person? That he was a real entity, a real person?
I believe it's quite possible. I believe
Okay.
it's quite possible.
I mean, we could possibly have another child if we
Well,
wanted to.
well,
Then do you think
well.
he?
Here.
And I'm not talking about in a divine role. I'm talking about as an actual human. Like, do you think he was an actual person that existed?
I think it's quite possible. That's that. I think it's quite possible. Absolutely.
Okay. Um. Okay. Uh. All right. If all right. So let's just roll with it. Let's say he existed. Do you believe, or do you understand, or have any? Do you roll with the aspects that he's God that came in the flesh, or no?
No,
No. Why not?
I just don't know that to be something that I can solidify.
Okay.
Now,
So do you?
now, now, now. Here. But you're asking me about belief, right? See, and here's the thing, which kind of goes back to what we talked about in the beginning. If I start giving this 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 idea that I originally gave you of what most people would call a God to someone who you're calling Christ, I just got this little eerie feeling I may be idolizing, or I may be doing a little bit of idolizing. I don't know if that's the right thing to do, because
I agree.
if he says no graven image, and someone comes along with anything that's tied to something that I can show you that this is this or this, or this image, this writing, this book, this dude that said that this dude is the son of God. What if the author is not telling me the truth about that being the son of God? And I say, yeah, that is it, and then it's not. And then one that day comes when I meet the creator, and it says, bruh, I said nothing. No means no. When my daddy used to tell me to sit down and don't get up, I damn near had to pee on the couch, because he said don't get up meant don't get up. So if he says don't have nothing, don't make no excuse with no bright idea about what someone else told you about something. If you're gonna believe something, believe nothing. Just know that I am. And if you're giving it to someone, anyone, then you've taken it from me. And I said, mine is mine and it's unlike anyone else. So I really, if I start tying people to my perspective of God, I'm going to have to use an image such as Christ, like you're saying. And I just don't want to risk my awareness of that principle. Now, is it bad for me as a person? It's not, it wouldn't do anything me personally to be able to get along with you or my neighbor if I was to have that perspective. It wouldn't, personally, I don't think that it would make the checker at the store raise my prices or any of that. But when I go to bed at night, my conscious, like he was talking about, I can see forecast that saying, man, you, for somehow you let your ways tie our thing into something outside of us.
I can
And
understand.
unless I have an epiphany or something that can supersede that, then I don't think that it would be fair for me to surrender my that right.
Hmm. No, and I know exactly what you're saying, and I
I hope you do, because I really never tried to explain this, and this is epic. that I'm actually sitting here doing this. This is huge because I've haven't had an opportunity, and I'm relaxed. I'm really relaxed, and I'm not in debate mode. I'm being mindful of that because some of it can get a little bumpy because there is personal, uh, some really deep personal reasoning behind my experiences. You know what I mean? That I don't want to factor in on this conversation. I just want to be genuine and not have any kind of emotions tied to the conversation so that I'm speaking freely and not emotionally because emotions change and I want this opportunity to be something that I can stand on forever. But
Yeah,
again, if I have an epiphany, if I have an epiphany and something supersedes that, then there's a good chance I'm going to go with it.
no, that's a good point because I mean, to me, that's the way of human nature, right? To learn and evolve mentally. You know better, you do better, right? So,
Yeah.
uh, I agree with that. It isn't about me, so I'm gonna just say I agree with a lot of what you said there, pertaining to idols and giving credence to who and who, right? Um, so and I'm moving along a path, right?
Yeah,
So
and I don't necessarily have to have an epiphany. I could just have a better understanding of what it all means, and then because I'm open to change. That's how I got to where I'm at. But it would have to supersede my thought process now for me to do it. But it is possible for me to learn something that I don't know, and it brings a whole new light to what I thought I knew, and I will make those adjustments if that happens.
yeah, no, that's perfect. Um, so I'm traveling down a road here.
Hmm.
Um, so I bring up the character of Christ, um, mainly as a person. Um, we got that answer. So if we're gonna get into the deity, I actually do believe he's God. You gave that answer. Um, so we have a lot of different stories in the biblical context of miracles and things being done. Do you and I use the word belief just to move the conversation along, but uh I hope the audience and you know exactly what I'm saying when I say belief, do you understand, uh do you know, have faith in, or I'm just say believe that miracles were done? And if you do you think, this is a two-part question, do you believe that miracles done were a fact or a reality in that time? If so, do you think that miracles are still relevant today? Why or why not? If and that goes vice versa. Maybe you believe that they existed, but they don't exist today. They don't happen today, as we so seen in the Bible, people raising from the dead and getting healed, all that type of stuff. So, do you believe in that? Do you think it was real? And do you think that it's relevant, relevant today or not?
Then this goes for me primarily, right?
This is you. I'm
Yeah,
asking
yeah.
you.
Sure. Well, I believe what a miracle is what something deemed what somebody deems impossible that becomes possible. I think that is what that's what I deem a miracle. Something that could not have happened any other humanly way. And then it happens, even though it can happen through a human, uh I can deem that event a miracle. That's what I so do I think those things happened back then? Absolutely. And do I think those things can happen today? Very much so. Very much so. I tell you, wife's had cancer 3 times. So I'm kind of obligated. And she laid in there right now. So I'm saying, so I'm kind of obligated. You know what I'm saying? My evidence is right in front of me. You know what I mean? Now, when I was looking for the miracle, when my mom was, and I'm using heavy scenarios, but these are places I look for miracles, right? So when I was looking for a miracle for my mom, my and it didn't come through, you know. So if it did, the two times that she did come home from to have the heart attack, yeah, those I deem those miracles, right? Something God, you know. Of course, I didn't do it. I called, freaked out, called the ambulance. They came and did what they, you know. So yeah, very miracle type of situation. But the time that the same thing that didn't happen when I needed it again, no miracle. The fact that I lived through it and came out halfway decent, miracle. You see what I'm saying? So like we saying, how do I know it didn't turn out to be something it was for the better? I don't. Is that something that I can relate to my higher power doing? Absolutely. Because that's not something I can deem you give you or I credit for.
So based on what you're saying that to you miracles are subjective. Uh,
That would
they'd
be
be
fair.
that's how someone perceives a miracle. You know,
That
because
would
some
be
people
fair.
say, "Oh, if you LeVar Ball, right? He got his leg chopped, amputated. I lay hands, speak in tongues, and your leg grows back. Okay, that's a miracle. But they might not define a miracle through doctor intervention, right? To give you medicine to help you reverse the effects of heart attacks or cancer, and you go home. So you're saying it's a subjective thing. Okay, that's perfect. That's great because that's good data right there. Um, so with that being said, you understand me. Um, what's up with this character known as Ra?
Right?
Um, it seemed to be a um some sort of basically it seemed to be linked to sun worship, or maybe it was the sign of who this entity was the sun. Um, based on everything you've said up to now and embodying, I would say the image of who most people would say God, how he would be is, and not wanting to give certain accreditations to fall in the form of idolatry, but not being religious. I've heard you talk about Ra, Amun Ra, quite a few times. Um, how does that come into play? Is do you consider that to be a god? And if you do, does that entity deserve reverence and worship or not?
No, no more than Hercules or Zeus or Odin or Cyrus or Thor or any of these other characters. No,
So no worship, but is it considered a god? Do you consider it God?
absolutely not.
No.
But no, but I
But
do
okay.
know, I do know that it is been known to be considered in various teachings to be a type or a god that will belong like the gods of Olympic. Those are a collection of gods, or the Titans. These are a collection of gods. So so yeah, I just would categorize that same thing in its own time. I give it that same value as I do the rest of them across the board.
We'll explain that. You give. Oh, okay, okay. I get what you're saying. Across the board, we're talking about the mythological gods, right?
Yeah,
The gods of antiquity.
or
Uh,
or or, or theological or
yeah.
astrological, or we can celestial. We can. they're all over. They're all in different principles and stories, and you know what I mean. So they're even we do the days of our weeks are named after gods. Our Olympics are named after the gods of Olympics. So all this is going on anyway. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. They never
calendar year is based off of celestial, which is astrological perspective of different gods. You know what I mean? So I just kind of keep them in their place and time to understand the reason of existence for that period. Because it starts to, when you start putting the puzzle pieces together, you'll start before you get it all the way put together, you'll start realizing what these red color pieces are going to, what part these yellow ones are going, and then it'll start making sense, and it'll just starts getting easier and easier for you the more pieces you start putting to the puzzle. But the the moment that you've gotten far enough along the puzzle to find comfort in what you're looking at, then that's all that you have. But if you're willing just to keep adding the pieces and adding the pieces, which does require you to kind of loosen up on your religious principles, but you'll start to get the idea of how things work, and you'll see a sequence of events that they're all doing just kind of in different times. And it'll just, well, for me, it just started making more sense to me on what get a broader picture of what's going on here. But it doesn't necessarily it didn't take away my immediate relationship with what I'm calling God, just for lack of better terms.
do that.
Um, but it's brought me more closer to it because I have less of this going with it. I got a whole less of this, and it's more of this going with it. So the eh, I know it's weird because I never tried to explain. I haven't rehearsed this before, but that's how I feel about it. I don't. Yeah, I, I guess that's how I explain it.
I'm about to
You know.
throw a curveball, right? Because we've been talking biblical standpoints,
All
viewpoints,
right.
um, do a little bit of mythology in there. Let me throw a hard curveball real quick.
All right.
Um, like you said, it's not so much the talking, it's this. And when you point to your chest, I denote heart, which I equate to feeling, right? Emotional ties, feelings, reaction type of time. So the curveball. Is it a feeling? Is it really how you feel, or is it a signal sent from your brain that tells you that's how you're feeling?
Well, it's not even a signal. It's just something that I'm tethered to, and I just traditionally went like this to try to give you a visual of this being inward. Something I could have went this way because it's something that's inward. It's not. I can't. It's not even a. It's not even feel. It's not necessarily even a feeling. It's all right. You ever take a Bluetooth speaker and you connect it to your phone,
Hmm.
right? And whatever you play through your phone, play out the speaker, right?
Hmm.
I'm just the speaker. I'm signaled and tethered to that source. So I'm just the speaker. I'm just a physical speaker that's tethered to that source.
Right. So my
Right.
my my my, my what I'm I'm trying to question you on is you're receiving these whatever it is feelings, uh that type of stuff. But if we look at the anatomy of human bodies, right? And here's the curveball, like love would be a strong feeling for a parent, a spouse, a child, but a situation. But in reality, what is that? Because if you look at the anatomy, it's really just a signal that releases endorphins that causes, it's like doing drugs. You take the drug, it causes your brain to release endorphins and makes you feel a certain way.
Okay.
So in a sense, your body does the same thing for this quote unquote love or whatever, anger, however feeling. So are you actually feeling that? Is that your actual emotion? And if we go in that route, no, I don't want to make it too complicated. Let's just
All
start with
right.
that.
All right. So I'll say it's again it's an inward tethered situation, right? So
Right.
it's,
Are
it's
you
not it's not
exposed it
necessarily
to
it's not
some of your
necessarily yeah
or
it's not necessarily how I feel about it. I'm not it, the speaker don't have no feelings about what's being played out of it. It's just a speaker. It's not tied to now how I personally can feel about it. That's something that's in my personal space. But how I feel about it doesn't necessarily dictate what I do. Some things I have to do even though I don't feel like I want to do it. I just it's something I have to do. So I'm so it's I don't do it based on a feeling because my I don't feel like doing it. I do it because it's the right thing to do. Now I may feel some kind of way about it, but I don't perform the act based on a feeling. But I may feel some kind of way about performing the act. Does that make any sense?
yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes sense, but that's what I'm kind of trying to get to.
I may
You
bitch and moan about, or I may be mad. I have to go and do what I got to go do, but it's that's just me how I feel about what I'm doing. The fact that I got to go do it is not what I'm bitching about. The fact
yeah,
that
yeah,
I'm going to go do it is what I'm bitching about. Oh, it's kind of a little complex, but I'm trying
right.
to, yeah.
Override the feeling of not wanting to do it and do it, but then after you complete it, you might have a sense of accomplishment that
Just,
oh,
yeah, just
got
like when I was going to church, there was times I didn't want to go to church, but I would still go. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just giving you an example of how whatever's in me can I just do it because I felt that it was the right thing to do, even when I didn't want to go or work or anything like that. You know what I mean? So just just trying to get you to see that it's not primarily how I personally because how I personally feel about gospel music. I love it. How I personally feel about the energy in the church. I love it. How I personally feel, how people feel when they're feeling good about doing the right thing. I love it. But I don't let my personal feelings override my connection to A. Are they got do they got some idle practices in there? Then that's probably not a place I'd rather you be. But
right.
but
And that's what I'm trying to get to.
doesn't yeah, okay, all right,
But that's what I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to
okay,
add
all right.
it built off of signals that cause our reality. Your brain sends a signal to make you feel like I don't want to do something. You then create another signal that overrides the I don't want to do it. You do it anyway. Then another signal of accomplishment comes in after you did it. And just with all, and that happens in every which way. Everything we do, even me moving my hands, is a
I can
signal
agree.
to get to make this happen. Is that a true engendered thing from your essence, or do you think that some of this stuff was programmed in you to, like you say, you love some of the gospel music with the understanding that a lot of that stuff is connected to idolatry, but you still love that type of thing. So, uh, what do you have to say about that? Do you think you're programmed into some of this stuff, or you yourself, who you are, actually enjoy and feel this type of way?
Once I started understanding, I was able to step back and start realizing, looking in at what I was doing. I realized that the good feeling in there is designed for you to the tempo of the music and the way things are arranged in there is designed for you to feel good. So because just because I'm in there, uh, uh, I'm feeling the feeling that's being felt in there, and then if they want me to feel the other way, they'll play on the bass side of the piano and make the music slow and low and bring me down and get me all to where I'm. So I'm just feeling what I'm feeling in there, but the fact that I believe that it was better than me having an independent feeling, I was going in there anyway and doing it anyway because I didn't know how to do what I'm doing today. I didn't know how to have this relationship independently. It had to be via something else. Didn't matter what that something else was, it was always via something else. But when I went the other way, I was obligated to have this in direct. And once I got it in direct, I realized I don't have to do it via. This is it feels better direct. I don't have to do it right direct. All I have to do is be genuine, be the best version of myself that I can be, and always be genuine. So I don't. But in certain practices, there's an order of things. There's a way to do things, and if you don't do it in a certain order, then there's a consequence. That. So so I figure I'm gonna have these consequence based on my the
Hey,
cognizance.
put yours up and put mine up, and let's thumbnail it.
Oh. All right, I'm with that. We could do that. Oh
You
yeah.
gotta,
I gotta get oh yeah, they're gonna love this one.
yeah, oh yeah.
They're gonna love that. But but again, there's a lot of good and great stuff and principles and stuff that I learned reading and in my time at practicing. It, I learned a lot of things that were really beneficial for me. Um, but I just found it more personal to do it personally.
I understand. I understand.
Uh,
Well, no,
but it wasn't bad for me like that. But again, I believed it to the depths of where I really believed that he wasn't going to let me have that experience. But now I know, man. Man, you can. I got a whole bunch of brothers and sisters. You know how many times I'm gonna keep going asking? Come on, man. you know, at some point, you know what I mean. So, but in my mindset in the beginning, I didn't think logically. I thought just based on my belief and faith. I didn't put logic in it. So that's why when I felt let down by God, I can't be let down by God. So if I'm feeling like I was let down by God, I'm clearly not understanding something, right?
yeah,
Because because that's not something that can happen. So in reevaluating things, I kind of backed out of some of the principles, and again, it got a little more personal. And again, I'm open to 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 change where it's needed to correction. where it's needed. But it's just gotta supersede how I'm thinking right now. How I think today about things.
Right. So from what I picked, and I was asking the program thing for a specific um point.
All
Uh
right.
and what I got was that you can be influenced, but it doesn't mean you'll stay influenced. You could be influenced by somebody playing a uppity type beat that'll make you feel good and jump and snap, or a
Mm-hmm.
sadder
Mm-hmm.
beat. But
Mm-hmm.
but reality will set in for you to make a conscious choice whether to continue to go with that or not. I took a note on it. I wrote, can be influenced, but will learn the right way along the way. Um, so I wrote it like that to kind of put in perspective. You might be walking down the street and somebody say, "Hey, come over here real quick. Let me holler at you." Okay, so you go over there, but as you're over there, you realize, nah, this ain't the. You were influenced to go over there, but then you made a conscious choice to say, "Nah, this is you learned. This isn't what I need to be over here, or I need to go this way." And you'll go the way that's right for you. So you're
Mm-hmm.
not impervious to influence. You're not impervious to being directed or even asked to just look into this type of thing. But it doesn't mean you're gonna just blindly follow something because somebody else, you know, is influencing you to do something. You'll make a conscious choice to elevate on that area. Um and for me, I kept it the way I kept it because it wasn't so much I want to debate you. It wasn't so much I
Mm-hmm.
want to get up here and have you teach me about Kemet. It
Mm-hmm.
was more so uh based on, your previous videos and other posts. Like, what do you actually cling to or claim to, right? Like, what's your actual standpoint? Do you believe in God? Do you not believe in God? Who
Mm-hmm.
are you? Because you can easily deal with, like you mentioned, I've seen some videos on your stuff. Funny, by the way, short. Mess with the Jehovah's Witnesses, opening the door before they both people and close the blinds and turn the light off when the
Yeah.
Joe you open the door before they even knock on it. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
before
That was funny. Yeah.
it's conversation about the Bible, or entertaining conversations about the gods of Kemet, or Greek mythology, and just
Mhm.
have this type of conversations. I just wanted to kind of get a clear stance and give you, for myself and for everybody else, like, what's your actual standpoint, and based on what I have for myself, I've come to understanding, just to kind of sum things up, that you do believe in what people would call God or a
Mhm.
higher power or creator. Um, you're just not a religious type of practical person, meaning you don't check a specific box of Christianity, Islamic, so on and so forth, religion. You more so intrinsically embody the principle of what God uh is known to be to you, which is, the
Yeah.
goodness. Yeah, and the
Yeah.
for other people, and
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
you have to, put your foot down. You can do that too, because we definitely see stories of that in biblical context where he's have to
Mhm.
a few folks out. Um,
Mhm.
so you also try to embody who God is to you versus religiously practice it, in the way of, how a church would or a mosque would do it. Um, you seem to be more so in the reality of imaging. That's how I'd put it. Imaging who you see God to be by living it out versus practicing it out. You know what I mean? Not, and I say that kind of condescending. I ain't gonna lie, because most people practice, say, "Oh, I'm a practicing Christian. I go to church every Sunday," or a Muslim, or however. But then how they live their life does not reflect the God they claim to be serving. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Or live up to. But it seems like you're the opposite. You don't necessarily check into these boxes, but the way you live your life more so reflects the God
Hmm.
you connect
Yeah,
with.
yeah,
You
yeah.
see it.
Or you connect with,
Yeah. I
or the person watching, or the viewers, or the audience that they connect with. As long as it's, like you said, embodying those principles. I really don't really the name, what you call it is what you call it. But if your lifestyle, I get cussed out by more Hebrews than any of them.
mm,
They give me the business. But so I'm saying, if I was to practice you spend more time yelling and shouting at me than living, being an example. Let your life be an example. I should be pulling at your coattail, saying how you do that there. Who do you serve? Show me how to be like you. But they're very controversial about things. However, the agreement is, and that might be required in their practice. I don't know, but simply because I'm just saying, I watch how people live. I've never been cussed out by a Satanist. Never been talked crazy by a Satanist. I know a few. Never,
that's
never went. All I'm saying, none of them ever came off at me as if whatever it is I'm doing is in opposition is they're doing. But most
no.
people
That's what I'm
I,
talking about.
I speak with in general religion, it's more so that if I'm not doing what they're doing, then it's not right. That their way is right, and there is no other alternative route. And
Mhm.
and so when I go to my other family member or my other friend, they said there's no alternative route. And I think, geez, I want to go where all y'all going. I want to go. My sister's 7 Day Adventist. I want to go where she going. I want to Jehovah's Witness. I want to be where my family is. But they're all claiming to be going somewhere else. So if I just say I just unplugged from the exact address, I'm banking on being able to be with them all because I don't have an address. I don't have a box to check. So I may be
Well,
eligible to be with them all.
let me ask you one thing
I
that
don't even know if that makes any sense though, but I'm I'm
no,
I'm trying. I'm trying.
to help it out a little bit more, because that brings up a point of, you said, of embodying that character, which we would know to be, when we talk about good and bad, like a Satanist, most people would say, well, that's bad, you know, and they say, if you talk about God, they would say, well, that's good, right? So let me ask you this. Do you get, because how, where are you getting the information from that would allow you to put on the personification of what you know God to be? What source are you getting that from? Is it mainly from this? Like, based on your previous experience, is your knowledge of who God is and how he would act mainly coming from this? Or is it mainly coming from the Quran? Or is it mainly coming from like, how, where is the main source of your understanding of who God is for you to be able to embody that character?
Well,
Where
I collect a lot of information from various sources, but I don't primarily make my decision on the information that I collect. Again, I'm tethered to the decision maker already. I'm just having an experience here, feeling the vibration of what's being played through me. So I'm not necessarily driving here. I'm in the back seat in this situation, but I'm deliberately in the car. I'm deliberately in the car, so I really don't. I don't really have that perspective of it that you're asking about because
Well, because I guess I'm saying, if you're saying, as long as it embodies, this certain persona. So I'm like, okay, well, you know, as babies, we're not born with the knowledge of God. I do ascribe to intrinsic, conscious, you know, right and wrong side, but as far as the knowledge of, like we said, God is not the author of confusion. We learn
Uh,
that's the prince something we learned. God is not this, and he's not that, and he likes this and he likes that. He's a creator, he's someone that is, lives forever. Them type of principles, he's more so on love and forgiveness. Um, for you to even embody that in this context, you had to learn that somewhere. And so for me, I've also learned the embodiment and the image of who Elohim is through this text right here. Some people may have learned it more so through the Quran. So I'm saying, like, where do you mainly pull your source of uh knowledge on how to create that image for you to live out? Because that's the greatest thing I respect about you, is that you actually live out the character of who you see God to be through you. You don't just proclaim it and do the opposite in your actions. You say, this is who I see God to be, and you actually live that out. So I'm asking you, where do you mainly pull some of that from, some of that knowledge from?
all right. So I'm gonna explain it to you like this. I'm gonna give you a quick little situation. But the little kid in this story is me, right?
All
I'm
right.
the little kid that comes out at the end, right? In this story. So here's a quick little story. And this hopefully this will get you to see how I operate here. So there was all these there was a bunch of gumballs in a gumball machine, and people wanted the idea was for all these different participants to guess how many gumballs is in this gumball machine. Now they're all different colors as gumballs are. So the everyone put in their opinion on how many they suspect. Now they had 10 people aging from 5 years old to 80 years old that is given a guess on how many balls are in the gumball machine. So everyone, the little kid said her amount all the way through. So the little kid, this is me, that comes out of the back. He's everyone's guessing how many numbers. So I got 10 pieces of paper, and we're trying to figure out who's closest to being right in this theory here or in this gumball machine. So what he did is he took all 10 of everybody's answer and added it up and then divided by 10. And he was off by a very few by the amount of gumballs that was in the machine. So just saying that to telling you that that is the way, like I just said, I gathered various information from all over different sources. Um, and I use that gumball effect to get the best answer that fits that question for myself. But I'm always tethered to this thing that has already answered it. I'm just going through this because I'm a human trying to peek into the present before Christmas. But the same thing that when I touched the the stove when I was young and it was hot, that that thing that told me that's the same. I'm still connected to that same thing that said, "Man, that's hot."
Hmm.
I'm still connected to that, and that pretty much deals with that part of my life. But then me coming in with my own brain, and I get to overriding stuff and get my own little. So that's where can be off at. Well, that's where I find myself off at is when I'm trying to figure out what is already known. I know this sucks for me too because I'm
Okay. Well, no, okay. So and that's a
because I
perfect
really can't tell you what it is without,
right.
yeah.
You're getting it. It if I'm understanding it, it's a mixture of life experiences and different bits of knowledge in different areas that seem to fit what best works for you.
Like when I jumped out the airplane, I was conscious. I was living a conscious life, right? Just conscious
Ah,
type shit, right?
airplane
But
now.
you know, yeah. No, I'm just saying when I did it, when I did it the first time, I was really Christian lifestyle when I went the first time. So it
Mm.
was all about that, right? The last time I just went, which was a few more times after that time, my relationship with what I had there, I'm not so like this about it. I'm more relaxed with it. So, but it's the same thing. It's just now that I've matured into that. So when you're a child, you think like a child. When you become an adult, you're supposed to put your childlike thinking ways away. And most people that I know that were children that knows the Bible still knows the Bible, but only in the way that they knew it as a child. They never exhibit any growth from it other than more of the same thing. When he said,
Can
you thought like this as a child, you believed all this stuff, the same Bible stories, the pages didn't change, but they believed that as an 8-year old when they're 80 years old. There was somewhere you were supposed to put that same way that you thought of this Bible principle at 8 years old. By the time you get 18, you should have been able to put that away and
keep going.
matured from that. But most people continue with their exact same way of thinking that they were thinking when they was a child. So they never put their childlike thinking away and matured, even though they still practice the same thing verbatim that they've been doing for years. They never matured in it. So to give you an example where I matured, instead of me clenched up, scared to death that something, because I'm jumping out of airplane, trusting that, oh, God's not going to let nothing happen and scared to death, other than being relaxed with it, having this tethered relationship with God and embracing what death is. But at first, I wasn't taught to relax and have a plug in with God and embrace what death is like you embrace life. I wasn't taught that. I was taught to be on pins and needles about there was just a lot of restrictions in the practice and there was a lot of organized way of thinking. There wasn't very much liberty for me to to be able to do some of the things that I've been able to do now that I'm not tied to an organized way of thinking. I have a little bit more liberty. Could that get me in trouble? Could it help me? But I know the intent is for me to be a better person tomorrow than I am today and have a closer tetheredness to my God, power of God, or whatever, whoever it is I'm talking to, whatever they're calling it.
Man, just say it, say it, say it. The world is gonna say it. Everybody else is gonna say what they feel and
Yeah.
who they
So,
feel. So you do this, say it. Like me, I'm proclaiming the name of Yah. Yah. Yep. That is
yeah,
God.
and I just don't, yeah, and I just see, and I just don't know. Just find a belief. I can believe anything, like you said earlier, but when it comes down to the meat and potatoes on something, you stick your neck out and say, "Yeah, I know," like everybody's got this great idea of heaven. Oh, it's so much better than this. It's better than winning lottery 100 times, man. This, but ain't nobody ready to go.
Yeah, nobody wants to die for what they're talking
Nobody
about.
wants to die. Nobody wants to die to get to the best place everyone's going. So it's kind of a little bit of a
Yeah.
it's a little weird that people
Yeah.
go to the free lunch line, they got free lunch, they give food stamps out. The line from here to the next city, that's free. They give free lunch. There's kids is lined to everything and this is way a million times better than that. And nobody wants to get out of the free lunch line and go
It's
get the free lifeline.
it's almost like, and I'm
I'm
about
just
to bring it
saying,
back.
man. I'm just saying.
It's like that guy way back when who was saying, if you could show me $1, I'll give you $100.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I took that on that one.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's
See
like that.
that?
Everybody was
Yeah, that
like,
that that was
yeah,
hard. See
we'll go
that
to,
same thing. I'm tethered to that, and
yeah,
I
yeah,
wanted the money. But that's what I'm talking. Now I could have took the money and prayed for forgiveness, right? If I wanted to go my traditional way, but I'm tethered different. So
yeah.
I man, ooh, that was you right
I did,
though. That's
I
the
did
that's a good one. That's
right
a good
there.
example. Yeah,
Might
that
not know
part,
because I didn't go all the way
that
in, but
part.
that
Yeah,
was just there, right here. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And the
yep.
crowd
And would
was
nobody even have known if I had lied because nobody was around. And
nobody was.
all I had to do was lie, and I would have had the money.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
and we didn't even have bread either. We was down a little bit too. Oh, he said, man, that was
But
now.
it was what it was.
Obviously, we was down. I didn't have $1. I had every reason to lick. I didn't have $1. He said, "But if you show me $1, I'll give you $100." He said,
Yeah.
"You got it." He didn't even say, "Show me." He said, "You got it." He said, "You got it." Everybody else, I got, it, I got. It. He was passing them out, man. But it was more than 100. He was just peeling off a few layers and just handing it, peeling off a few layers. Anybody say, whoever, he said, man, you got it? And I don't got it, man. Because anybody that said he got it, he just handed it to him. He said, you got it? I like, no, I don't even know. He said, dang, I can't give it to you. Went to the next person. You got it? He said, yeah, I got it. He said, you got it? I got it. But
And
that type of deal, that
yeah,
type of situation,
and
that was
that was
that was
insight.
fun though.
Yeah,
That was
I
fun though. That was a
the
fun night, man.
yeah, the crowd is gonna
Remember, I
see
had the
by
necklace. What was the necklace or something? He was like, "Man, what is that, man?"
yeah, yeah, that was hilarious. That was
Ah, it was a oh,
it was
something
the half
something that
man,
I got for the lady. Yeah,
it
it
was
was
half man, half beast thing.
crazy.
Yeah,
Man, I got that over
but
there.
so
That was
no, but this is good, man.
that
This
was a
was
good
good,
one.
and the
That
crowd
was
is
fun.
going. Even though the crowd doesn't fully know what I'm talking about, they see the reaction I got when I
Yeah,
said it, so they know
yeah,
it's something. But they don't fully
that was
understand.
fun. That
But
was fun times. Yeah, yeah.
then I had to
That was
say
good
this, and
stuff.
just to bring us back, man.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
This was more of just to get to know your stance based on the content that you have, to kind of declare your stance, because you know me, uh I don't give a shit, and I chose to use that expletive um
Okay.
versus a higher power expletive, um because I don't know who's gonna see this, so I chose shit. uh
Okay.
I'll say it however, I'll just say it, you know what I mean, across the board, where I stand with it. And when there is opportunity for enlightenment, I'll get that too. Definitely. That's how I got to where I'm at now. Like you said, the same thing. Um, so this was good. overall, what I'm coming away from this is that you do believe in God. You're not a
Oh
religious
yeah.
person, but you definitely live out the tendencies that you know God to be in your life, and you um allow others to experience that through your spirituality, which is heavy in relationships and how you treat one another. And how you can be influenced, but you won't stay ill as far as if it's wrong or it doesn't fit the narrative, that influence will not override what you know to be correct, right?
Hmm.
You'll make those corrections uh based on that. So just like that story with the half man, half thing, you was influenced, you got it, but then when we start asking questions,
Yeah.
oh, you got stuff out of where we was at. You
Yeah,
made you on the
but
real
but
run.
but now but now that I know about and I'm more relaxed about things now, but
Yeah.
but that just goes to show you how I how I was in practice of that, that I
Mhm.
wasn't willing to let, you know, if I didn't really get it, it's got to go somewhere. It's the devil. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
everything was the devil. If I wasn't able to, if it didn't fit how I,
Oh
you
yeah.
know what I
The
mean?
future unknown,
But
man. That
now that I grew and I learned a little bit, I'm more relaxed. I get the scare Beatles purpose. I get the Eye of Horus and the 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 eye the one to going the other way, the left and right, the pie. I get the eye and the pie. You know what I mean? I get the spinal cord and the what it's representing, and it's not just a cool thing to wear. I understand, and my chiropractor tested that third eye with it on my wrist using these the compression tests to determine if it brought me energy, if it was strengthening me or weakening me. Because you can wear jewelry and do a stress test, and you'll tell, and then take it off and do it, and determine if that jewelry is giving. You'll know. You'll be able to feel. You'll give in or you'll resist based on the jewelry. So he didn't know either way. Being my chiropractor, he said, "Hey, I just want you not to wear something that can stress you down and bring you down and bring you weak if you're unaware of it." And I was unaware of it, exactly what I was wearing. So he did his thing and determined, hey, this is actually good for you. And it could just be the way I received it, and I made it good, But he determined uh, that it was good and positive for me, as well, that it brought me strength opposed to weakness, because I guess your arm, at however he was doing his thing, will lose its strength with the metals that you're wearing, or it'll resist its strength based on whatever it is that was my chiropractor. I credit him of knowing something, and I could have just gave him that, but he did spend a little time off the clock and did that with me because he was concerned that he didn't know if it was making me stronger or weaker. And I didn't think that it had any kind of physical effect on me. I was just wearing it. So it's making me mentally stronger as I took it. But he's like, no, as a chiropractor, I understand how your body works and different kinds of metals make different effects on your body. And that could be aiding or
Hey, you went out. You went out. Well, I'm not really sure what happened. If anybody can hear me or what, because his screen done went blank. But I'm just a guest on another way to see it, and I wanted to see the host's perspective on his standpoint with things and how he sees it. Uh, and I got that understanding. I hope everybody else did. If we, if the host ever does allow us to place him in the hot seat, uh, oh, it'll be about some knowledge. It'll be about some topics. Gonna fire it up, Elroy. But
Oh
this
yeah,
one was
yeah, I ain't gonna
more.
do that.
This one was more just to see, where what he stood for, for my own personal self, and I guess everybody else watching. So, but yes, you are back now. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
But I, yeah, go ahead.
I'm exiting. That's my
All right,
exit. Uh, you know, and
all
but
right,
that is I did throw a low key thread out there. I'm already throwing a little something at the end, like if we do this again, if you ever allow yourself to get in that hot seat again,
all right,
it ain't gonna be to
all right.
get the know.
Okay,
It's gonna be the
okay,
it's gonna
all right. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. We'll get me back here. You know, it'll be definitely cool, man. This was fun. Um, this was fun, man. This was live. Uh, it looked like my signal went in and out for something. I don't know.
yeah,
I'm
your
on my phone.
your audio is dropping in and out, dropping low, coming up. You're blanking in and out, so that's why I'm saying, it's we 2 hours in.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
that's the energy telling us, hey, it's time to
yeah. Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it
yeah.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I do appreciate your time, and this was fun. And I will go back and look at this, and and peep out some key things that we talked about because this was a good opportunity for me
Oh,
to.
because I got some notes on you. Oh, I got your number locked in. Yeah, we got the eye of horse and the kundalini and all that. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm not gonna let you run from that stuff. We're gonna
Okay,
end it today, but next time you're gonna have to
all right.
tell me something about this stuff.
I'm with that. I'm with that. I'm with that. Much love, man. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks for
Uh,
having me, and I appreciate it.
I'm gonna get back. We'll do it again, man. Much love. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video with somebody you know and with somebody you don't know. I appreciate you.